Anybody got baggage?
Thanks.
Yeah. A couple bags.
Yeah, I got a lot of baggage because I've been tripping. Steady stacking up frequent fly trials thanks to the frequency of my sinning. Turbulent the way I kept it spinning. You see, my struggle seems like it's always been women. Now this phenomenon probably dates back to the beginning. Probably has more to do with me, my childhood trauma, lack of impulse control and discipline, than it ever had to do with women. Probably, since selfishness and immaturity made its way through TSA with a fake ID that said pimping. Oddly, though many things were out of my control, I can't posit myself the victim. Filling up my passport, they were just places I like visiting, not people worthy of respect. That was a foreign sentiment and I couldn't get a visa. Something I would later come to regret, like Bitcoin or influences at the Five Fest sleeping in FEMA tents. Likewise, my groin was the tour guide that never got me anywhere but vexed. Yet I kept going. But it wasn't just sex. It was something about control, a lack of awareness and intimacy. Like a bunch of apartments, it was complex. Something about how I was socialized to take advantage and not care, void of regrets. Something about boasting, but being blind to the spiritual warfare behind what we see as threats. And lastly, it was something about my worth that left me with a wild desire to flex. Clearly, conquering my consorts was key. External influences in my ego had me thinking I was a player instead of a hoe. Promiscuity was the subtext. It was all about that ism, mouthpiece, a game like who's next. But you know, the stats were still the same and the championship ring was still custom coated with shame. I had to retire before I could grow. Basically, find a new lane. It was unfortunate though, that I had to wait for my whole life to implode before I learned how to let go, let God, and begin my healing journey. It was delayed and it showed. The overhead storage was full, and though when it came to packing, I fancied myself a pro, I still had to check what I was trying to carry on or wouldn't be allowed to go. So, I complied, sat back to enjoy the ride. Reflecting on all the sweet things my exes did for me, I wonder how many good relationships I've sacrificed at the altar of my pride. To later be remembered for my infamy or simply criticizing all the time. Because I definitely made a couple of them cry. Honestly, I might just be known for my harsh tone and irritability. The finger on their triggers are just part of the reason for their therapy. It figures. But how many had to endure my mess while I refused to look inside? Far too many, I suggest. I was far too wasteful to have been that blessed, far too combative when overwhelmed or stressed. Loving me was like waiting on a table with 15 guests at the end of a shift, all requesting separate checks. Exhausting, I guess. Either way, my fall turned out for the best, and perhaps now, instead of my wounds, wholeness is all my partner gets.